Well, we spoke exclusively with Kenya's Foreign Minister Musalia Mudavadi about those protests, the impact they had on Kenya, and the lessons learned from them. Minister Mudavadi also spoke about Kenya's economic reforms and the nation's engagements with other development partners, including China.
Minister, thank you so much for joining us at CGTN. Kenya's been undergoing a lot of political, social, and economic changes, especially this year. Could you speak to us about what your take on a lot of those changes have been and some of the highlights that you think have been positives for the country?
For the first time, Kenya had to withdraw its finance bill because young people were raising concerns. But we have overcome that, and we were able to adjust our financial configuration appropriately. And in the process, we are on track, I would say, and we are now looking at 2025 with a lot of optimism. So we've had a very good year, I would say. In terms of key economic indicators, our shilling has stabilized against other currencies. We have seen inflation figures coming down. We've seen increased production in agriculture, so that our food security situation is far much better than it was some time back. Prices are much more affordable for the people.
When you speak about challenges, some of those challenges were the youth-led protests that you've mentioned. Just speak to us about some of the biggest lessons that you think the government of Kenya might have learned or taken from challenges such as that.
Our democracy is very, very vibrant. For instance, the Constitution guarantees the right for people to protest, to picket and so forth, but peacefully. So that was one thing that we upheld. But we also learned a few things, that a good process can be hijacked by elements who do not mean well. For instance, for the first time in our history, we were able to see people making an invasion in Kenya's parliament and even in the judiciary. And these are the institutions that anchor democracy. So those were lessons for us to draw and learn that it should not happen again going into the future. As we preserve our rights as enshrined in our Constitution, we should not go to extreme levels of being disruptive. The other thing that we learned from perhaps that particular episode is that technology can also be misused. We had a situation where the president, for the first time, was addressing the citizens of this country on the X platform. Never has it happened before. But why was he doing that? Because the ones who were fueling, because the process of propelling the riots were being propelled mainly through the social media.
I wanted to talk a little bit, you talked about global friendships, global partnerships, and as we go into a new Chinese New Year, what partnerships and collaborations should we expect between Kenya and China, and what would your message be?
I think it is broad, and China is definitely a very, very key partner for the people of Kenya. Their investment in infrastructure has been tremendous. For instance, we have had, when we went to the FOCAC meetings, we discussed aspects like extending the SGR to the Uganda border, Malaba. These are very key infrastructure programs that would have a serious impact on the economy, not just of Kenya, but indeed of the entire region. we talk of roads. We had a conversation, and I think it will bear fruit, where certain roads that had stalled can be rejuvenated, and the process of completing them can be completed.
What message would you have, first of all, for Kenya, and then for the rest of the continent as we close the year and go into 2025? Give us the final word.
I would just want to tell Kenyans and those who are having the opportunity to watch is that we must never take peace for granted. Never should we take peace for granted. We must build it, we must nurture it, we must protect it. That is the basis for development in any country. Finally, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate this.